going to play a new game. A fresh feature on Ironcast. It's called Mystery Player. Here are the rules. I'm going to give you 5 clues, and you need to attempt to guess who this person is.
I could be shocking at this.
Hello and welcome to Ironcast, and look who's in the guest chair today, Ginge.
In the hot seat.
In the hot seat. It's like question time. The lights are on you.
Yeah, nervous.
You're about to get grilled.
No, I'm not nervous. I enjoy these. I do like answering questions and remembering the old days.
Yeah. Now look, 214 games, 9 goals across 11 seasons for West Ham.
Yeah.
Long time, wasn't it?
Yeah, long time. Obviously split in the middle with my move up to Villa. But just great memories. The first 5 years, 6 years I was here, obviously signed 2005, Alan Pardew. Just a great time to be involved in the club. I was obviously a lot younger man back then, and just a great club to come to. Obviously just got back in the Premier League, and a good dressing room, good squad, young lads, Nigel Reo-Coker, Anton, Matty Everington, young lads, proving themselves, but also the old boys in there as well. Teddy was in the dressing room then, Malky Mackay. So just a great mix. And obviously I came up with Gabs, my best mate, which made a move from South Wales to London a little bit easier.
Like, what does it mean to you, to that love? Like, do you look back on your career and just so proud of your relationship to West Ham?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And if I'm honest, I probably get spoken to. I'm obviously about a little bit more now and speaking to fans than when I was playing, but I've always had an unbelievable relationship from the minute I walked in the club, and I think it's down to the way I played. I wasn't the sexiest footballer, as in on the pitch to play for West Ham, but I was a firm believer in, look, if you're not quite at the level of some of the boys, you've got to try hard, you've got to run around, you've got to tackle, you've got to win your headers, and that was my game. That was the game I loved. I loved the big tackle. Some of the tackles loved the block. If there was a chance, a block, and I think headers, a challenge, that sort of thing. Loved it. Loved every part of being a defender. And like I say, I probably sort of worked on that game more because I knew I wasn't technically as gifted as a lot of the lads. So that had to be a massive part, and I think that's what the West Ham fans loved. If I wasn't playing well, I'd run around or I'd get sent off sometimes or tackle a few. So, yeah, just a great relationship from the off, and always was about as well. I'd be speaking to fans. I'd always stop and do the autographs outside the ground, and as soon as I came, after a couple of months, I became a fan. So it sounds a bit cheesy and a bit cliche, but I became a West Ham fan. There's no doubt about it, and I was lucky. I felt lucky to be playing for such a great club and loved every minute, every time I pulled the shirt on. So I gave my all every game, and the West Ham fans liked it.
Yeah. I wonder if West Ham fans know this about your playing career before you joined West Ham, which you came from Cardiff. But I don't think many fans will know that you played at almost every level of league football for Cardiff. You took them from the old 3rd division right up to the Championship and nearly to the Premier League too. What a kind of...
I'm not sure I took them on my own. I took Cardiff.
You had Robbie Earnshaw as well.
Yeah.
But what a kind of an apprenticeship into football. Like, you came through those levels. It must have given you so much kind of like experience to do that.
Well, it's my sort of journey into football is probably a lot different to most people. Like my family, there's no doubt, like not just family, but I was playing football, but my dad was a rugby-man, obviously coming from South Wales. So I wasn't playing football, like the kids are now at 8, 9. I was playing up the school across the road from my mum's with my brother and the older boys and playing that sort of football, but I wasn't really in a club. I went to a local club, a bit later on, and just started there really. Started in playing on the parks in Newport, where Newport, South Wales is a tough old town. I remember looking back, I could probably give you 5, 6, 7 players when I was a kid who were probably better than me and sort of didn't get on, but just played local at a really good level for a club called Pill back in Newport. And then because it was so strange, and then you get seen by the town, started playing for Newport when I was about 13 maybe. Do well there, so-and-so, and then there's a scout watching. Sheffield United scout saw me early on. Didn't really fancy that because I'm a bit of a home bird. So, and then Cardiff came calling, and I think because my family didn't really know football as much as everyone else, and this was a time when I was sort of getting into the Wales setup as well. There was boys going off to Liverpool, off to Man United, And us being novices, my family, Cardiff came in and my dad went, well, why don't you just go to Cardiff? You're living at home still with your mum and dad. You've got more, they're in the old third division. You've got more chance of getting in the first team than the boys going up to Liverpool. So it just made perfect sense. Stay at home with my mum and dad. Mum cooked me dinner every day and I didn't have to worry too much, and went to Cardiff in the old third division. On the old YTS, you know, it's academy now, but it was on the old YTS. Went in, did well. First year, I think I signed a 2-year YTS, did well, playing at 15, 16, straight from school into the YTS. And by the time I'd got to 16 and a half, I'd made my first team debut.
Mad, that.
Yeah, which was in the FA Cup. Yeah, mad. But we spoke about it on here before when we've had guests on. For me, and other players have spoke about it, it was the absolute perfect intro into football. Playing in the old third division was like nothing else. As a kid as well, you know, playing as a probably centre forward, bit of centre half at the time. Just learned so much. Learned how to handle myself. That's probably what showed in my later days, the way I played. But just such a good way of learning football. So like I said, I was a kid and just loved it. Yeah, the old third division.
Given you became like quite an established Premier League player, did you find the third division easy? Did you know that weren't your level?
It certainly wasn't easy. Wasn't easy at all. Like I didn't probably play a lot. I was sort of around the squad, coming on sub here and there in those early days. But I remember it being hard. You know, it's hard playing against hard players. It was, every game was a battle. There wasn't much football played. That's probably why the rugby came into it. I was probably playing rugby most of the games in the third division. But just a great way of learning. Played with some unbelievable players at Cardiff.
Yeah, give us some names. Rattle off some names.
It was probably a bit later on towards when Hamman, the old Wimbledon owner, came in, which was another story. But then later on, we had, I don't know if people remember, players like Willie Boland, Jason Bowen, Graham Kavanagh, Peter Thorne, who were great players for Cardiff, but like really established Championship First Division players. But learned a lot as well off them. Like the banter was ruthless back then as well, as you can imagine. But sort of that mentality where anything to win a game. We had some great players and great times, but some of those boys, and obviously Gabs was about, we had Robert Earnshaw who was scoring 40 goals a season or something at the time. So just a mixture of great lads who were still sort of, it was a long time ago where we could obviously enjoy ourselves a lot as well and had a great team spirit, but learnt so much in those early days and never thought of the Premier League, to be honest. Never thought I'd ever be a Premier League player, but just every game I played, really enjoyed it, and things moved forward pretty quickly.
And give us your best Sam Hamman story. Obviously, one of football's most colourful characters, to say the least.
I remember, I don't think I was around the first team at this time. Sam came in, Bobby Gould, Alan Cork, of managers. Bobby Gould was manager. Wow. Yeah. He gave me my first contract. Gould, he gave me my first, from YTS, honestly, from YTS to sign my first professional contract. I signed a 5-year contract at 16, I think. And it was Bobby, got my old man in, sat us in the office, gave me this 5-year deal, which was, so Bobby was there. Alan Cork, I think, was his assistant. But Sam Hamman was just mental. He used to keep
Hamman and Bobby Gould in the same.
It's like the old crazy gang. The old crazy gang. Like honestly, Sam used to pay like the old YTS boys to go and like not smash up the first team cars, the players' cars, but like put the windscreen wipers up, put like branches on it and cones. And the chairman was paying us to do this. Like he'd go, like, it's a £50 note or whatever. But the most mental one, I can't remember what game it was. We were at the old Ninian Park, and I must have been in the squad, the first team squad, and we sort of doing our running after a game. Sam come out in his full suit, shoes, and asked me for a race. And he was and he was deadly serious. So he went, £50 on it. Okay, no problem. Like I was on £37.50 a week or something at the time. So yeah, no problem. I had to give him a bit of head start, but he was just mental.
You beat him?
Yeah, just about. We all know wasn't the quickest player in the world, but I just about beat Sam Hamman. Yeah. But like, he had a sheep. I remember the old Ninian Park. He had a sheep in his office.
What do you mean?
Honestly,
an actual sheep.
An actual sheep in his office.
Alive?
And like, alive, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like just like on the wall,
he was very, very eccentric and a bit mental, but loved the club. Did really well for the club. Put a lot of money in. He was paying the boys big money back then. Made some big signings. Just great fun. Like an old school football man who just loved being Loved being in with the banter. He'd be in the dressing room. Just a great time. Like I don't really speak to a lot of Cardiff fans anymore, but those early days when Sam came in and we were really progressing, like say second, third into the Championship, great time to be at Cardiff. Great time. Yeah. And such a young lad as well.
And also like Wales, the national team.
Yeah.
You all came through Cardiff and then you're all playing for the national team too.
Yeah, well, and another thing, Gabs came in, he was at Cardiff. I think we must be, we were in the Championship at the time. Gabs got into the Wales squad under Mark Hughes, I think. Came in, there's quite a famous game in Wales. We played Italy at the Millennium Stadium with Mark Hughes and we beat them 2-1 at home. And Gabs was sort of the unknown in the squad at the time. We had Craig Bellamy was in it, John Hartson, Giggsy, Speedo. And Gabs was this Championship player coming in and he was man of the match. Like Mark Del Piero out of the game. It was just everything came so natural and so laid back to Gabs. He was unbelievable. And people who know listening, whoever met him, he is the nicest man in football as well. And he's my best mate. I was his best man. He was my best man. And just from those early days in Cardiff, he's come on to be my best mate. Spoke to him this morning. Do you know what I mean? Just an incredible man and what an absolute pleasure to play alongside. Learned so much from him. So much.
And also you and Gabs probably the only double transfer I'm really aware of in West Ham history. Maybe there's a few.
Centre half,
but centre half.
I can't remember in football in general two centre halves being played. And I only got told this story the other day. We used to have a scout called Roger Cross. I don't know if anyone remembers. Yeah. People listening will remember Rog. And I can't remember who was telling me this story, but Rog was sent down to Cardiff. We were both doing really well, but he just stood out. Gabs, do you know what I mean? Roger had been sent down by Pards, I suppose, to watch Gabs. And Gabs did really well. And it was a game that I did really well in, and they must have watched us a few times. And apparently, I don't know how true it is, if Roger's listening, he might tell us. Rog came back to West Ham or Pards. How did Danny Gabardon do? Pards asking. Danny Gabardon, brilliant. What a signing he'd be. He was excellent. But I'd sign the ginger one next to him.
The ginger one.
So I don't know if it was a bit of a fluke that I had a good game then or whatever, and that's why they said.
Did you know the scout was there that day?
No, didn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue. It was the year we were in the Championship with Cardiff. It was the year Jermaine Defoe, Michael Carrick were in the Championship. 2004, and we played against them at Upton Park. I think we lost 1-0, but me and Gabs did really well. Played them at Ninian Park. We beat West Ham 4-1. Ernie probably scored that trick. Me and Gabs were unbelievable against Jermaine Defoe that night. So I think those two games probably swung it. And then, best mates, both from Newport, to sign together with the same agent. Cyril Regis was our agent as well at the time. Manassi, Stella. So it just seemed perfect. It just seemed perfect, and then come to the club and instantly fell in love.
Did you know of the interest from West Ham before the season's end? Was there any clue, or did it?
No, so it was a bit of a funny time. I think it might have been Lenny Lawrence the year before. I think he left the job, and we came in the following pre-season, so it would have been 2005, and Dave Jones had became manager. And obviously we were being talked about. Gabs was in the Wales squad. I was on the brink of the Wales squad. So there was talk of me and Gabs. Didn't think anything would happen. I think Dave Jones came in and said, look, you get your head on it. You two are not going anywhere, basically. And then within 2 days of that conversation, a bid had come in. I think it was 3.6 mil, and that was it. We were on the way up to London.
That's great value, isn't it?
I mean, today's market, how much you talking?
Yeah. So where did you sign your contract? In the old West Ham?
I can't remember. It must have been at the ground. Must have been at Upton Park. Yeah, I can't
remember your press shots as well. Was it two of you?
I don't think there was any. I don't think that was done back then. I think if there was any press shots, they would have been like, "Who are these two? We've just signed." Like, it's a new kit man and the physio. But it was just such a mad time. But what a time! Like it's a whirlwind. You ask any player when you're young like that, your feet don't touch the ground. 1 minute you're in Cardiff, with your family. Next minute I was in the car, scanners in London, and signed for West Ham.
How good as well, like it must be daunting going to a new club, but to go with your best mate in a double transfer.
Yeah.
So you've got someone who's living the exact experience that you are, and you know them.
Well, there's no doubt about it. It would have been, like I said, I was a kid. It would have been so hard. I was still, I don't think I was living with my mum and dad at the time, but I was certainly living in Newport, and you're in the middle of London. Newport is definitely not London or Essex where they put us. So it was strange. If Gabs wouldn't have been there, it would have been really, really hard. As much as the club were amazing, the players in the dressing room were amazing. But after training, we were staying in the hotel. We stayed in the Waltham Abbey Marriott for like 6 months. So if I had just finished training, didn't, like you say, new school, we don't really know one. I probably would have gone back to the hotel and been on my own for a lot of the early days. But me and Gabs were there together. So we'd go back to the hotel, we'd go out and have a little adventure, go up to Epping, down into Loughton. And then, it would have been so hard. And I'm sure Gabs would say the same, even though Gabs is a bit older than me. It was just perfect. Like looking back, it was absolutely living a dream.
It was such a great time, as we've touched on this podcast, but how soon into like joining that West Ham team did you know that this is going to work? Especially for us
or
season?
Just the team?
Both, I think. Was it early on? Was it like a second training
I think it was just the attitude in the squad. We had a lot of young lads, as I mentioned, like Nigel and Anton were probably on the brink of the England squad at the time. Me and Gabs playing for Wales. Boys who really wanted to do well, really wanted to prove themselves. So probably something to prove. When you're a young lad and you're playing the Premier League, same as players now, you wanna prove to people that this is the level you belong at. This is where you need to be. So we had that, but like I mentioned him again, we had Teddy, who had won the treble, who had, numerous England caps. If we ever did get a bit big for our boots, would knock you down.
Would he tell you?
Yeah, of course he would. I mean, Teddy Sheringham, do you know what I mean? He's just, and I was I'm gone into that dressing room, buzzing to be around, and look across and Ted sat there. I mean, I was a kid watching Ted, do you know, and he's one of my best mates now. I play golf with him in the summer. I'll play 3 times a week with him. So we had that perfect balance of Pards as well, probably wanted to prove himself at that level as well. So he wanted to do well. The players wanted to do well. The young lads prove themselves. But we had Ted and the other boys who were sort of been there, done it a little bit, who could keep it all under control.
Yeah.
But what a year. I mean,
I know.
What was we, 9th in the league, FA Cup final?
The results just started, that came in quite early on, didn't they? There was just such a head of steam around
Marlon. I think Marlon scored 16 goals that year, or 17, 18 goals maybe. Just unreal. Just all clicked and we were loving it.
And how soon did the bond, I mean, we've had so many players from that team on, but it's clear what a bond you all have. How early on did that bond gel? Were you instantly going out? Was there like such camaraderie all going out together early on?
Instantly.
Who was the leader of all that?
You could do that back then. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking
pre-camera.
I'm not talking like we were doing anything wrong. You'd play Saturday, you'd work really hard, you'd work through the week. If we won a game on a Saturday, we'd all be out. All of us. Maybe the odd one wouldn't get a pass off their missus or something like that, but I remember our first nights out. Me and Anton were talking about it the other day, and Marlon. We used to go down to there used to be a TGI Friday on the Piccadilly there on the top, right on the Oxford Circus TGI there. We'd be in there and just all of us drinking these fishbowl things, like massive fishbowls.
Like tourists.
Yeah, honestly. And it'd start there and we'd sit there for hours. And I remember going out I'm not sure this will make it on the pod. I remember going out the one after we had won, and I drove into town. Obviously, I hadn't been drinking at this point. Drove into town. Was always going to leave my car there, get the train home. I sorted out because I was going back into London next day. Got into town, parked my car in an NCP somewhere close to this TGI Friday. Got on the fishbowls with the boys. Lost my car for a week.
What do you mean?
I couldn't remember what NCP I'd parked my car in. So that was the sort of fun but on, like I said, enjoying ourselves. But that was, I can't even remember. I think it just came to me like a couple of days later. That's where my car was. But yeah, in it together. Like I said, work hard, play hard. We were having unbelievable results on the pitch. Really, really close as a group of players. Enjoyed each other's company, not just at the training ground and on the pitch, but outside of football. And just an unbelievable time.
I'm never going to walk past the TGI Fridays without thinking about
fish
you and the boys in there drinking fish bowls.
Like
at the height of your
things,
powers.
Like chicken wings and these fish bowl. You ask.
I've never seen someone drink a fish bowl in the UK. Something like Valaraki or Mali.
Yeah, exactly, on the beach. You ask Anton, or they were fish bowl. They were something. Hayden would have been about. All the boys, Conch. We were all, just a great time.
For younger fans who maybe weren't alive for that era or don't remember it, what is the one match or the one performance that you think really sums up that team?
Oh, it's got to be Arsenal away.
Yeah.
I mean, that was quite not an easy answer. It come out instantly off the top of my head. Arsenal were that team at the time. They're like Henry's, Pires, Lundberg. They were that Arsenal team. They wouldn't have been the Invincibles, I don't think. Were it around there? No, maybe after,
you beat them, so they couldn't have been.
No, yeah, true. No, it was in, the year before maybe. It was that team anyway. It was that Arsenal team. And we were doing really well. Went to Highbury. And just one of them games where you sort of think, if we're on it here, as much as they are the team they are and really good, if we're on it, we got a sniff here. We got a chance. And no fear went into it. Every game we went into, no fear, young lads. And just from the first whistle, I think Matty Everton got a goal, was unbelievable that night. Bobby obviously did what he did to Sol. Just that sort of game epitomised that squad at the time. No fear, don't care who we're playing, we're going to go out and beat you. And that's what it did. And that night was unbelievable. And it goes that, we were the last team to beat him at Highbury. And then the following year, we beat him at the Emirates as well.
What was was there one match where the post-match celebrations just really stick with you? Would it have been the FA Cup semi-final?
It's got to be. It's got to be the FA Cup semi-final at Villa Park.
What's going on in the dress? Right,
well, I've said it before. It was the last communal bath I've ever been in. With a bottle of champagne. I mean, and a stupid Barnet at the time. Yeah, it's got to be that. That's probably what sticks out the most. It's got to be that.
So you walk in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Everyone's jumping in the bath. Yeah. The champagne's out.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I'm a bit rubbish with that. Like I can't really remember too much after game. You win a game, you're buzzing. It's such a big game as well. We got to the FA Cup final. I remember there being 10 of us in the communal bath, just having photos all together, champagne. It just...
Have you got the photos from that?
There is a photo about. There's a photo. It was in a programme.
You need to...
Yeah, you can't miss me. I've got a stupid Ginge Barnet at the front stuck to my head. It is just starting to thin as well. It looks horrendous. But just, in the bath, just loving it. Ted, there's a picture, I'm sure it's like Nigel's in it, Anton, Gabs, me, Ted, Matty would be about. Just great memories. Great memories.
Did you get on the bus? Was it the bus after the game?
Would have been the bus back.
Would that have been, did the party carry on all the way back to London?
Depending on when the next game was, it probably did carry on. I can't remember.
I can't imagine Paz is the kind of manager to go, lads, big win. We've got a game next.
He was probably at the back with us. I wouldn't surprise me if Paz was in the hot tub, to be honest. I can't really remember. We would have enjoyed ourselves. Like I said, we just got to an FA Cup final. It was, but I can't remember the actual bus back, but no doubt we would have been, there would have been a pit stop to buy a couple of beers, I would have thought, along the way.
How does that atmosphere in the dressing room after the semi-final compare to the atmosphere in the dressing room after the final?
I mean, I've just mentioned it there. I can't remember. I speak to the boys, the boys who were in that team around that time that got to the cup final still speak about it every day. Not every day, but every time we sort of meet up and see each other at games now, we still talk about that FA Cup final. I think I can't remember a lot about it. And I think I can't remember a lot about it is because I didn't play. Like I got dropped for the final, basically. Anton, semi-final, me and Anton played centre halves, or me and Gabs. Anton or Gabs played right back.
Kept a clean sheet.
Done really well, kept a clean sheet. Final comes. Pards didn't play me. He played Anton and Gabs, and he played Scaloni right back. So I think I don't remember a lot about the build-up and sort of what was going on because I was so disappointed not to be playing. I remember obviously remember the goals and stuff like that and hoping to get on, but don't really remember a lot about the aftermath. Don't remember the dressing room. Obviously remember it being very quiet, but I can't remember if anything was said or what went on.
When you text the lads who played in that 2006 final, is there one thing you will talk about, like, I wish we'd have changed that, or if that was different, we would have won? Like, is there any? I mean, everyone talks about.
I think we're all in agreement. If I had played, we would have. we would have won.
I was chatting to Jimmy Walker last week. He says, if I was in goal instead of Xhaka, I'm saving that job.
Yeah, he still thinks.
He goes low down to my right. That is me all day long.
I mean, Jimmy's 5'4", isn't he? Xhaka was like 6'6". Jimmy Walker get nowhere near it. Joking I am. Looking at the game, Djibril Cissé scored we were 2-0 up.
Oh.
Djibril Cissé scored just before half-time. And I think if we had gone in at half-time at 2-0 up, might have been a little bit different. Might have been. Maybe putting me on late doors. I can sit here and
instead
talk
of
about it.
Daly.
Well, no, not instead of anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think I played my best games in pressure. You know, I've probably played some of my best games here. I remember playing Swansea. We had to win the game. Won the game 1-0. I was man of the match. So those sort of games when the chips were down and you had to. I am going to big myself up a little bit here. If there's any person you want to defend something, stick me in. Because I'll head and kick anything, take a block, go off. So I think maybe if I'd gone on and we hung on, but, you know, you can't. I suppose I can't say that because the goal that, you know, the equaliser, what Gerrard scored.
You'd have charged him down. Or maybe if Anton's at right back instead of Scaloni and you're at centre back.
Well, yeah, we won't go into that because I've given that enough coverage about Scaloni at right back. Yeah, who knows? It's one of them, you know, and as much as it was disappointing at the time, it's always still talked about because it was unbelievable final.
Well, Ginge, accidentally, we've only really covered your time at Cardiff and your first season at West Ham, so plenty more to talk about. Another 10 seasons of Ask Ginge to do. I look forward to that. Before you go, however, going to play a new game, a fresh feature on Ironcast. It's called Mystery Player. Here are the rules. I'm going to give you 5 clues, and you need to attempt to guess who this person is.
I could be shocking at this.
After each clue, you'll get 1 attempt to guess who the player is. Okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Born ready.
I was born in Lambeth, South London on October 13th, 1980.
Am I expected to get it from that?
Yeah. Actually, this isn't on my list of clues. I'm going to give you a bonus clue. This individual was the headliner of my primary school fete in the early 90s.
Jesus.
There's a clue. If you think about it, there's a clue in that. A young footballer headlining a school fete.
What year was he born?
He was born in 1980. So when he's 11, 12, he's
not Coley. Joe Cole?
No. Here's your second official clue. I joined West Ham in June 2007 for £7 million. So you're at the club then. June 2007.
Carlton Cole.
No.
Oh my God, I told you I'd be shocked at this. Okay. I was here, £7 million, South London. Bobby Zamora.
No. Here comes your third clue. I have won Hammer of the Year for 3 consecutive seasons. And I think off the top of my head, I think 3 times winners of Hammer of the Year, you're right up there with Jeff Hurst, Bobby Moore.
Scott Parker.
Correct. Well done. Pressure's off.
Shouldn't have taken me that long. Nat.
I'll give you the rest of the clues if anyone wants to play this at home. I was regarded as a tough-tackling, no-nonsense midfielder. And the final clue, after retiring from playing, I went into management, taking charge at clubs including Fulham and Bournemouth. Scott Parker.
Scott Parker is the only man... We all know what Chadwell Heath was like, porter cabins. Scott Parker was the most immaculately dressed man. He used to come into like Chadwell Heath porter cabins in like a full suit, like suit jackets and that. And we're all in like Kappa tracksuits and like in tracksuits and just coming in. He'd come in cardigans and a tie and stuff like that. I mean,
I was in a hotel there just after Christmas and Scott Parker was there and he walked past me. And he just smelled amazing.
I bet he smelled good, yeah, he did, yeah.
Like the waft of aftershave, like, wow. What a great smelling guy.
Very smooth man, Scott Parker.
Also, another bit of insight, Marlon Harewood's got a new aftershave. I was like, oh, Marlon, you smell nice. What's that? He wouldn't tell me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's some
He wants
Marlon
to keep it for himself.
It's that new
one. He's like,
no,
I can't have anyone else finding out
that
about this.
new one, Lacat's.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us, Ginge. Thank you for listening as well. We'll be back soon with more Ironcast. Until then, come on, you Irons.